Hi guys, Mark from Mind Frontiers. I was looking at different things to talk about on my YouTube. So today I'm going to talk about Eragon and how we can relate that to our own mental health. So Eragon is a film or a set of books by Christopher Paolini. He's a young farm boy who doesn't have any much aspirations for working life in the future. He's going to do what everybody else has done in the community, but he always has big dreams. And his big dreams, he wants to become a dragon rider. And he wants to face the big bad guy. Well, his dreams came into reality. He became, and I'm not going to give spoilers for those that have never used it or read the book or seen the film, but he got himself a dragon and became a dragon rider and was set against the bad guy. And now many tribulations happen in this story. Some are good and some are not so good. There's lots of different emotions that this young lad, who's now suddenly been thrust into this world where it's unbelievable and it's deathly and it's dangerous and scary, and he's still got all these emotions going on because he's only a young man and he hasn't learnt how to become self-aware. He hasn't learned about himself, and part of his journey in this book is actually exploring himself. Now you could equate his dragon as being his own dragon inside, so like our own inner demons or our own dragons inside. Some are good and some are bad, and we can equate that. But I wanted to explore it a little bit more, because what we got to do is we often look at things and we take things personally, and when we take things personally we can often make mistakes. Now a quote from here was, "It's better to ask forgiveness than permission." Now this can actually be seen as a bit foolhardy, a bit let's rush in, let's jump in without thinking first. And sometimes that can be a good thing. If you're running away from a bad dragon that's going to eat you, then getting away is a good thing. But often this has a consequence, and we don't understand the consequences when we just jump in. If we just jump in, that's it. We're not going to be aware of anything else. And then there's another quote: "The greatest enemy is the one that has nothing to lose." And that's very true, because the greatest enemy is actually ourselves. Is what we say to ourselves, is what we do with ourselves. And it's this inside that stops us from progressing. We'll often have a little thought in our head: oh, you can't do that, oh, you can't do that. So our greatest enemy is us. But if we accept that, then we've got nothing to lose and we can actually move forward, rather than focusing on the things that just stagnate inside our body. Now another quote: "The sea is emotion incarnate. It loves, it hates and weeps. It defies all attempts to capture it with words and rejects all shackles. No matter what you say about it, there is always that which you can't." And that's very true within ourselves. We all have these emotions. We all have the ability to love, hate and cry. And nobody in this world can say where the mind is. People say, "Know your own mind." But where is your mind? Science can't prove where the mind is. It can prove where the brain is, but nothing with the mind. Our mind can't be shackled. We shackle it ourselves, so let's unshackle ourselves. We have to control what's in our own mind. We have to start looking at our own selves, controlling ourselves within, so that we can actually grow. When we start to grow, we become self-aware. Now this little quote I quite like. "First, let no one rule your mind or body. Take special care that your thoughts remain unfettered. Give men your ear, but not your heart. Show respect for those in power, but don't follow them blindly. Judge with logic and reason, but comment not. Consider none your superior when their rank or station in life. Treat all fairly, or they will seek revenge, and be careful with money, Hold fast to your beliefs and others will listen. Now this is really, really true, and especially in today's society. We are programmed by society into what we think and what we believe. So therefore your mind isn't your own. Your mind is being programmed by other people. It's being taken over and controlled, if you want, with the bad guy. So Galbatorix is the bad guy in this story, and he likes to break into people's minds. Now this is what's happening in our own minds, with our own thoughts, and with the programming that we've got with social media, with the news, what we see from our friends and family. We are programmed in what to think. But what we're not doing is listening and responding. We're reacting rather than responding. We are going, oh, this is bad, this is bad. Let's take the facts for what they are. So you're looking at logic with reason. When you step back and you look at logic and reason, you can step back and go, actually, is this actually true? And if it's not true, you can actually let it go. And this is definitely massive. Consider none your superior, whatever their rank or station in life. We've all got to treat each other as human beings, as equals, with respect, with dignity, with compassion and love. We're all individuals. We all have different experiences. We can have the same experience but perceive it differently. So, for example, if you was to go on a roller coaster ride like you are on with a dragon, when the dragon is swooping down and flying, some people might go, oh, I don't like that. Yet other people go, yeah, this is fantastic. We're all different. We all do things differently. We all think differently. We all believe differently. And if we can start spreading that message around, this can be the new program for other people, not the negative program that we're all programmed into. It's about looking at ourselves. And there's this little quote. She's doomed, you're doomed, they're all doomed. Notice I didn't specify what kind of doom. So no matter what happens, I predicted it. How very wise of me. Now let's look at this and break this down a little bit more. We are born, we live, and then we pass on. And if you believe in it, we go to the next life, and so on and so forth. Or we go to heaven, or we go to God, whatever your beliefs are. So in other words, we're looking at time. We are born. We have to spend our time. But are we using our time wisely? Or are we just living by chance? So we're just living by accident. So it's a one thing after the next, rather than actually enjoying the journey. Even if the journey is sometimes difficult and we've got lots of lessons to learn. Just like Eragon had lots of lessons to learn so that he could become a dragon rider. Some were good and some were very, very painful. But we grow and we develop. And if we can grow and develop, these are the things that can help us move forward. And then we can look at other things. And when we look at other things, like from the film Eragon, we can associate ourselves with some of the difficulties that he was facing. Some of the difficulties that other people were facing. And when we do that, we can have empathy and compassion for others. But we have to be careful that we're not trying to live their lives for them. We've got to be able to be compassionate, step back, allow that person to experience what they need to experience so that you can help them or you can help yourself. And sometimes we just have to look forward. And this quote is massive, massive, massive. Respect the past, as you never know when it will affect you. What does this mean? Well, Often when we have regret and stress, these things come from the past. They're not thinking about, oh well, this is the future. A lot of our problems that we have in this society come from the past, and everything we see, touch, taste, hear and smell is recorded. Completely. And there could just be a single thought, but it could be a thought about something that was in the past. And in that instant, if it's got an emotional attachment to it, it'll be back. Just like that. And sometimes people then go, oh, I feel bad, and start crying, or they burst into laughter. Because those triggers from the past have just been triggered again. And then we start living in the past rather than respecting the past. And that's never a good thing if we're living in the past, or we're living in the future, because we're not living in the moment. If we live in the moment, we can look back and go, yeah, actually I can see where I went wrong there. I can see my mistakes. I can see what I could do differently. I know that I could say to myself something else, so that I could, if this situation ever occurred again, I have a different strategy to do. Now, Eragon had to think of lots of different strategies in his accomplishment to becoming a man, as well as learning how to grow with his own emotions, deal with those own emotions, and deal with the oncoming threat that he's going to have to face. There was a lot for that young man to take on. But we need to start looking at these things, guys. We need to start addressing what we're doing, whether we're living in the past or living in the future. Now, I would love to fly a dragon, but as we all know, that is an imaginary world. But our imagination can be deemed real, and our imagination can lead to reality. So what we think about grows. Eragon all the time thought he wanted to be a dragon rider, and eventually he became one. So what we think about grows. So what are you thinking about, guys? Are you thinking about the doom, the gloom and the despondency? You're going to go and fight Galbatorix. Are you thinking about that in the future? On how actually it's going to be difficult and I'm not going to be able to achieve it? Because then it becomes your reality, rather than being in the present moment. So respect the past, be in the moment, and then plan for the future. Okay, so I'm going to face Galbatorix in the future. I need to get more information. I need to do more research. I need to train more. I need to understand more. I need to strategize, find out his information, how he works. I need to find out how I work. And in that way, you start learning to build strategies, and you start to develop things for the future. Rather than living in the future, which is often negative, you start planning for the future, and then you can actually ask yourself, am I working towards my goal? Or am I working towards something else? We've got to start looking at our goals and looking at our own behaviours, and then we can start moving forward. So, a quote here from Saphira, which is Eragon's dragon. Life is in fate's hands now. You made your choice to stay. It's too late to change that, so stop agonising over it. You're making my scales itch. And this is all about Eragon coming to terms with himself. He made a plan, he made a choice, he made a decision. Now, we all have choices in our lives. Sometimes the choices are limited, but we can open up our choices as much as we can. And we have to then stop agonising and regretting over the choice that we've made. And the reason being is we've only got as much information at that minute in time to make a certain choice, make a certain strategy. So they say hindsight is a wonderful thing, but hindsight means that you learn from your own mistakes. So you have to have a mistake to be able to learn from it. You might do something perfectly and it will work great. So then you know it's effective. And then there's no mistakes. But we have to live by our choices. We live in a cause and effect universe. But we can only make a choice when we've got the information to hand. Have we got enough information? Maybe not. Can we get more information? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And then we have to make a choice on limited decisions. And this often leads to judgment against ourselves and against other people. And that's where we need to step back so that we're not judging others and we're not judging ourselves. We're looking at what was effective and what was not effective. And then we can start being like Eragon, who's supposedly full of love, and that you are looking for one who will reciprocate your affection. There's no shame in that. Love is around. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean relationships. It just means that we need to be compassionate and loving to ourselves and to other people, so that we can grow as ourselves. And if we grow, others will grow around us. And that will change our perspective. And it will change the way we do things. And we can ask ourselves, what could I do differently? What can I learn from that past so I can respect the past, so that it doesn't happen again? And what can I plan for the future? And then I like this as a final quote. Saphira says to Eragon, when he's jumping on her back, and then he's running off and going off onto mad adventures without thinking again, if anything happens, I'm going to pin you to my back and never let you off. And Eragon goes, I love you too. And Saphira says, I'll bind you all the tighter. And we often say things when we're annoyed and we're stressed, but when we're acting out of love, that's just a statement of saying, be careful. Please. Look after yourself. Take care of yourself. Look within. So that we can love ourselves. Because Eragon and Saphira became like one, because that's what it meant to be a dragon rider. So when part of it was gone, there was a little bit of grief and worry, which is normal. But it's being able to bring it back and go, actually, I love you, take care of yourself. Now sometimes this message can be when we say to people, stay safe, text me when you get home. It's an act of actually showing that they care, that they love, and that you're needed and wanted. And when we feel needed and wanted, we have a better feeling about ourselves. We start to boost our self-esteem. And that's all important, because if we can boost our self-esteem, we can know where we're good, we can know where we're weak, and we can work on the things that we need to work on. And then we can move forward. And we can enjoy the journey. And when we get to the destination at the end, it'll be ever so much sweeter, because we've enjoyed the process all the way through. So, thank you very much, guys. A little talk about Eragon. If you've got any other ideas or geeky ideas that you want me to talk about, just drop me a comment below, and I can do some research and come up with something, because it's always good to learn more. The more we learn, the more we can do. The more we can do, the more we learn. So thank you very much, guys. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to share. Thank you very much, guys. You're super awesome. Goodbye.